know that you're there. So thanks for joining us tonight for the College and Career Ready Night. You've got the business panel here. And to start with, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. So I'll go first, and then I'll just kind of work around the circle as I see it. So my name is Keith Beloff. I'm the division head for CTE and PE at Buffalo Grove High School. Tom, why don't you go next? We can't hear you, Tom.
I'll jump in while he's figuring out.
Murph.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Bob Murphy. I'm a business teacher at Hersey High School. Thanks for being here.
All right, Rachel, why don't you take it away?
Hi, my name is Rachel Hooker. I'm a Hersey parent, and I'm also a real estate broker with At Properties here in Arlington Heights.
Awesome. Ryan?
I'm Ryan Stefani. I'm a senior at Buffalo Grove High School.
And then Ben, how about you, buddy?
Hi, everyone. My name is Benjamin Anabe, and I'm a senior at Hersey.
All right. Tom is connecting again. Let's give him one more second. All right, I think you're working now, Tom. All right. Well, Tom might need to jump off and then jump back on again. And we'll get him working in a second. So we're gonna as I was just talking to Mr. Murphy here a second ago, he goes, a year and a half away from playing on Zoom. So I'm a little rusty on Zoom, so give me a second here, but I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna take you through a couple slides. I actually had Tom Rose lined up to kind of help me out going through all the pathways. So Mr. Murphy, I might ask you to help out because
Absolutely.
I'm a little newer to this area.
I got you. No worries.
But, so here's our panel. We also have April Elders, who's a human resources professional. She'll be joining us. Hopefully, she was having some technical difficulties, and then we might also have a former student jump in as well. All right, so we have several pathways in the business world. So we have business administration. Come on now. Finance, marketing, and that's it. So Murphy, Mr. Murphy, could you just kind of walk through some of the pathways for us?
Yeah, so I mean, the easiest way to think about it is there's 3 semester-long kind of introductory courses and then 3-year-long dual credit college advanced courses. So the 3 introductory courses are an introduction to business, which if someone were to ask, hey, I'm a freshman or I'm a sophomore, I'm interested in the business pathway, where would I start? I think introduction to the business would be the first place that you would start. And then from there, you could take another introductory course, marketing, which, is that's kind of the more creative side of business, kids that, like to work with graphics, kids that have a feel for branding, kids that are, social and like to interact with people, generally gravitate towards that marketing. And then we have a new class that we're offering next year called Finance and Investing. And that's more the money side of business. And so in a perfect world, a kid would take 1 semester of introduction to business and then say, I can like this marketing stuff, go explore marketing. And then once they get up to junior and senior year, we have 3 honors college level courses. So we have honors college entrepreneurship, in which the students work in groups and they, go through the process of coming up with a business idea, actually creating a product, and then going through the process of marketing and selling that product. And then we have college business, which is kind of like just a more advanced version of introduction to business. It covers all facets of the business world, with a probably more of an emphasis on management. And then the other honors college accounting course that we offer is college accounting. And so that is first semester, it's financial, and then second semester, it's managerial. So all 3 of those college courses are aligned with National Louis University. The college entrepreneurship course it's called dual credit because you get high school credit and you get the National Louis credit. So that's 3 hours through National Louis. The college entrepreneurship is also 3 hours through National Louis. And then the college accounting is 6 hours through National Louis because we do 3 hours of financial in the first semester and 3 hours of managerial in the second semester. So, I mean, for those of you that are, getting started in high school, my recommendation is, to start off with an introduction to business course, or maybe even if you're like, well, I really kind of got a feel for marketing, or I have a feel for finance and investing, you're more than welcome to start there as well. There's no real like rules as far as what classes you need to take in what order. And then see how it goes. I think we have a good mix now. I think where we're at right now in terms of our offerings makes a lot of sense. 3 semester long intro courses, and then, like I said, those 3 year-long courses.
Yeah, there'll also actually be one other course that's offered at a couple of, not all the high schools, but some of the high schools, which is small business management.
you,
So
yeah.
that one's going to be running at a couple of schools. Also, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we can answer the questions, after as they go. All right, then on to finance.
Yeah, and so, like I was mentioning, we in the finance part of it, we have the intro course, which is new next year, investing in finance, and then it's not really necessarily an advanced finance course, but the honors college accounting course is probably the one that's most aligned with finance, because you have to have a background in accounting as you progress into finance. So yeah, those are the two courses that are in the finance world.
And then marketing, we probably covered all this as well. And if you have any more questions, you can find all the pathway information in the pathway guidebook, which you can find on the District 214 website under academics, and then academic programs and pathways. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and allow the panel to talk a little bit more. See, we have April Elders back again. April, are you able to talk? I know we can't see you, but that's okay if you can just talk and introduce yourself, maybe.
I think I'm working with April to see if we can get her back online. Thank you.
And then Tom Rose, are we working now? Are we audio working?
He's really a fun guy. I promise you. He's a great guy. I swear. He is really a good guy and a ton of fun. And I'm so upset you guys are missing out on this. I apologize.
All right. Well, while we're seeing if we can get Mr. Moroz working again, Rachel, we didn't get a chance to hear a little bit about your background and maybe what what pathway you took to get into where you are now.
Yeah, so I think what's unique about the field I'm in of real estate is people get there all kinds of ways. And the amount of different answers in my office of what did you do before real estate varies wildly. Certainly there are traditional paths in business administration, marketing is a common background, finance, but really none of those are required. And technically you don't need a degree. I have a bachelor's degree from Valparaiso University. I studied English in secondary education, and I did teach in the Madison, Wisconsin area for a while, and then later in the juvenile justice system. So at that point, my career started shifting to more social work and program management. I then came to Illinois at Chicago, and I managed the Illinois Safe to Learn program, which was funded by those Dove license plates, if you remember those. And I basically traveled around the state talking with superintendents about how to receive money to enhance school safety. So that's really a long way from where I am now. I threw three kids in the mix, and life has its way of taking different paths. But my colleagues, I would say, there's no wrong answer in terms of what path you could take to land here. I think there are certain personality traits or certain affinities that young people would have, whether it be in real estate and home shows. I think for a lot of young people, they get introduced through HGTV and some of those kind of things into the world of housing and thinking about design and all of that. And there's a lot of room for all different kinds of talent and niches within the world of real estate. Is there anything else? I don't want to monopolize.
No, that's great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
we'll probably come back to you, but,
Sure, yeah.
Ben, could you tell us a little bit about like maybe some of the courses that you've taken, in high school, and then maybe what your plans are for post-secondary?
Yeah, so far, I've taken almost all the classes at Hersey. I started off my sophomore year with Intro to Business. Yeah, that what Mr. Murphy said was it's a great way to introduce yourself into it. To do a lot of vocab based stuff, so you get familiar with the terms that are used. Sophomore year, or junior, excuse me, I did college entrepreneurship, and then I also did intro to finance or personal finance, and then currently I am in sports marketing and accounting.
And what are your plans for next year?
Um, I plan to go into accounting. As for what school yet, I mean, I'm planning on either going somewhere in Arizona or staying in state. Um, like I think the whole thing for me right now is just like continuing my education process, but then also building something along the way. So like I like to practice what I'm learning, and I put it into like small little mini projects.
All right. All right, Ryan, how about you? What classes have you taken, and then what are you planning on pursuing?
Yeah, so my freshman year I took personal finance, and then sophomore year I took sports marketing, and then my junior year I took college business, which I thought that was like the best class out of the ones I've taken so far, because I really felt like I like learned like the general like business, and like helped me like figure out that I really wanted to go into business. And then this year I'm taking college accounting, and after high school I'm planning on going to college. Not sure where yet. Probably I'm looking at Illinois and Indiana mainly, and then I'm planning on studying finance, but I'm not sure what within finance yet.
All right, awesome, thanks. Hey, what advice, maybe from the two seniors, what advice would you have for incoming freshmen that are, thinking about going into some of the business classes?
Personally, for me, I think it's great to ask for help. Right now, like in accounting, I'd say it's pretty difficult if you like days off for a second. But something as easy as like talking to your buddy right next to you, it really goes a long way. And it's a great way to share like knowledge.
Yeah, I'd say like within your class, really pay attention to like what they're teaching, because I feel like a lot of it like builds on each other, and like if you can make the connections within like your classes, I feel like it really helps, and like you can like learn a lot more while also like figuring out what you really want to do within business, because business is a really big thing. And so if you really pay attention to each of your classes while taking different parts of like the business, like taking some finance, marketing, to help you like figure out what you want to do within business, I feel like that'll help like set you up for your future.
All right, great, thanks. All right, now back to the 214 teachers. Oh, you guys have already, well, Murphy has already told us what classes he teach. Mr. Moroz, are you talking yet? All right. Well, he is more than just a pretty face, but like Mr. Murphy said, he's a great guy. So unfortunately, the technical difficulties are knocking him out. Mr. Murphy, could you talk a little bit about some of the external experiences that are available in your program?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that is a big component of the business department, part of the deck club, and I'm not sure if Ryan is, but it's basically an international organization, and we have a chapter at DECA. Mr. Vesper runs it. He's not on here, but he's another Hersey teacher, and he runs the club. And really what it is whatever lane of business that you want to go in, suppose it's marketing, suppose it's finance, accounting, or management, that's kind of what you compete in. And so there's about 3 or 4 competitions over the course of the year. There's a district, there's a regional, and then there's a state competition. And so the way it works is you basically get a scenario, a business scenario, and you by yourself or you with a partner has to problem solve that scenario and then present it in front of a panel of judges. So I know that DECA is a really popular program in District 214. You know, we've got probably 40, 50 kids in it at Hersey. I believe Buffalo Grove has got 80, 90, 100 kids in it. I know you guys have a lot of kids in it. And so it's just, it's nice because, you know, not only are you competing, but you're also like kind of seeing what the business world is all about. You're getting introduced to kids from other schools that are kind of along the same path that you're going along, and you kind of network with them a little bit, find out where they're going to college, you know, find out, you know, what they're studying. And so I think that's another big component of the business department. So as you're planning your high school career and you're thinking about your coursework, something that's a great activity to be a part of is DECA. It kind of runs along the winter season. You know, it starts the beginning of October-ish, and then it goes till around the end of February, early March. And, you know, the commitment level is so that you can get a ton out of it and you can practice a ton. Or if you only really have time to go to the meetings once a week or once every other week, you know, they work around, you know, students' basketball schedule or athletic schedule, whatever it is. So Ben, you are in DECA, right? I am saying that right? Do you want to talk a little bit more about from the student's perspective?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I mean, if any of you have watched Shark Tank, I think that's a great example as to how, like, what you expect to see. Personally, from a student perspective, like, it's a way to take a step into the business field. You do meet a lot of business oriented kids. You're all like learning at the same time. Me personally, I thought it was kind of difficult because we messed up in our papers. We got seated at the wrong table, and so we were reduced with our time. But other than that, it was basically what you practice in class with all the courses that are like provided. Um, I kind of like to think of it as like an ultimate test, and you can really like see how you perform and whether or not you like win to go to state or sectionals. I mean, you still learn from your failure. So
Yeah, I think it's a great, I mean, like Mr. Murphy was saying, I think it's a great program. I had an opportunity of judging last year, and it was you know, you definitely got to see the kids think on their feet and, you know, process in the real world. I think we have one of our other panelists. She's on. April, are you able to, you're able to talk, right? We just can't see you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Could you maybe just you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and you know what you do, and maybe some of like how you maybe the business courses that you've taken, or how, you know, you came into where you are now.
Sure. Oh, my name is April. I have worked in HR for about 20 years. The majority of that has been in manufacturing. I have a degree actually in hotel management, which is just a specialized business degree. But HR falls under that umbrella. And initially I was in restaurant management, but quickly, I've always been very customer service oriented, but quickly I learned how important the internal customer is. And I really appreciated how important employees were, and realized that if you took care of the employees and you developed them and trained them and kept them happy, then they would take care of the customers. So I really enjoy recruitment and employee engagement and developing employees and training. So I like any kind of learning and classes geared towards that. I think you were asking about classes I've taken. So I went to college. I'm older. You can't see me on video, but classes I've taken. I didn't know if you wanted to talk. I missed the beginning part of
Sure.
this. I
Yeah.
apologize. I
Maybe
also had technical difficulties as well.
It's a common theme tonight.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like tell us a little bit like your maybe the what you studied in college and
Yeah. So I actually I went to school at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. So I actually studied hotel management, but I knew I did not want to work in the casinos. So when I graduated, I actually was heavily recruited. It's one of the top schools for hotel management. All the major hotels and casinos and restaurants, they recruit you. So it's pretty exciting for that. And then I'm originally from here, from Chicago, but I went out there. It's a long story, but I wanted to go out west for a while. And then eventually I made my way into HR and came back here. And then somehow I find myself into manufacturing. And I really love manufacturing because you really get to work with a lot of different skill sets. And that's kind of how I also got involved with District 214 and really like all the things that 214 is doing. But having a hotel management or specialized business degree, I have taken all kinds of courses. I have taken marketing, I've taken accounting. I actually was going to be a math teacher, so I've taken a lot of math that even engineers have taken. And I've taken a lot of, legal classes and HR classes. But really, I really like the training and employee development. Those are really kind of my things that I kind of gravitate towards. So I think it's really great what in high school, I think it's really important to really explore and take different courses. I think it's really great what 214 is doing because oftentimes you start out in college and you take a class and then you realize that's not what you do. So if you can do that now in high school and then kind of explore those options, please do that now because it's better to do that now than to do that in college and waste that money and time. So really take advantage of any seminars or workshops and any classes you can take in high school to explore that. Don't be afraid to try something. Try clubs, anything extracurricular. Don't just explore it. You don't know what you like until you try it.
True, very true. Ms. Stoker, can you tell us a little bit, can maybe describe like a traditional day or typical day, if there is such a thing?
Yeah, you have to be one that really likes not knowing where the day will take you. People that gravitate towards structure and predictability, it would not be a good career choice for, I would say. But we have rhythms to the week, I would say. I'm on a team of 6 other women, and we have our regular meetings where we go through all the things that are kind of on the docket, closings coming up, and those type of details. And I would say each one of us brings a certain talent to the team. We also work with District 214, and we've taken interns, especially in the summer. As you can imagine, when the weather's warm is when the most activity is with home buying. And that aligns well with district breaks and desires for internships. So we have had some District 214 interns in the summer. I think it to some extent, young people bring exciting energy to the field of real estate, whether it's social media management and marketing and using, you have to be on TikTok and all the different apps and be somewhat savvy in those spaces as the field grows and changes. And so I think young people are really well positioned to jump into that world. But I would say, although a college degree isn't necessary, it is super helpful in a lot of ways. But really, it's a licensing exam for this particular field. But and then there's continuing education that's required each year to maintain that license. I would say mentorship is a big part of that type of business because there's so much to learn that you can't really learn in books and really in a classroom. It's a lot of on the ground training, and I think I've never been in a career where that was more important than real estate. And there's often realtors looking for, I know a lot of people that, are my age that have been in the field for a long time, but they started out as somebody's assistant or social media manager in a real estate office. So they were kind of immersed in that setting and really liked it. And then they grew within that setting. So there's certainly opportunities for that as well.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Hearing about internships, I know that, I mean, that's a super great way for students to learn. One of my favorite stories, I used to teach at Prospect, and there was a student who was interning as an architect when they were building their pool. And I asked her how the internship was going. This was towards the end of the summer, and she said, "It was great. I learned that I never want to be an architect." And I mean, that's one of the great things about doing an internship is she now knew she didn't want to go to college and spend 4 years. She learned that before she got into college. So, internships do expose you and then help you figure out what you want to do, and then also maybe what you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Ben or
think
Ryan, have you had a chance to intern?
I have not. I actually work at a country club, so I mean, I take that as my own internship. Like I'm surrounded by other business oriented people. Um, if you could go that route, I think that's kind of great because you do get paid that way. But yeah, like there's a lot of people there. They run their own businesses. They have some great stories. Like they go travel over the seas. They might have came to go golf because like running on 4 hours of sleep. But yeah, we mentioned how like making connections is great, and these people do it on a daily basis. So I mean, you can easily find a mentor if you're caddying.
Yeah, I have not had an internship either, but I worked at Camelot Pool, and I did like concessions and cashier there. So I kind of got to work with like some money and like inventory and stuff like that. So it kind of got me to look at that side of like business.
Yeah, you got kind of the real world small business management going on. Awesome. Rachel, I know you were going to say something and I kind of cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as the mom of a freshman in college and then a sophomore in high school, and then a younger guy, I guess I just wanted to echo the idea that finding out what you don't like is as important as finding what you do at this stage of life, I think. And the more experimenting you can do in high school, I think Hersey offers such a wide array of things that to try your hand at. And, those interests can even grow and change over time too. But I think Hersey any District 214 school has just a wide variety of offerings to kind of try your hand at things, because ruling things off is just as important, because there's a whole lot of options in the world today about what path to take. And I think sometimes that can almost be immobilizing or overwhelming of too many options, but you certainly have a nice environment to start learning what you don't like and what you do. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Just a reminder to the 60 some people that are watching, if you guys have questions, anything that we have covered or anything that you are curious about or would like more information about, throw it in the chat and we can pull up those questions and answer them for you. Mr. Murphy, what you've been sitting there for a while. What other advice would you have for our incoming freshmen as they're exploring the business world?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think like Ben alluded to, don't undervalue, and I think even Ryan mentioned it, don't undervalue the importance of having a part-time job. Like I think we forget in high school that that's formative in our lives, like that me and Ben, share caddy stories all the time, because I caddied for 9 years, and that was that was a profound experience for me, in terms of my development, in terms of like getting a sense of what people do for a job and learning how to interact with adults. And we get paid on tips, so it was a direct correlation between the value of the service that I provided and the money that I got. And then I worked at a bagel shop. I worked at Einstein Bagels, and that was also a really good experience. I did that in the winter when I wasn't playing sports. So I think those kids, when we're having conversations in class, when I'm talking, in accounting, I'm always like, who's got a job in here? And because then I'm like, all right, I got you. All right, can we talk about when do you get paid? Okay, so when I'm teaching liabilities, I can explain what a liability is through a kid's paycheck that works at Jewel. So I do think that that's another important thing to consider is take that decision seriously as well. I know people get really caught up in internships, and those are awesome opportunities. But you know, in addition to what you're going to hear a million times over and over again of joining sports and joining clubs, don't undervalue that part-time job that you get as a high school student, because that's developmental as well. So, you know, carefully consider, you know, where that is.
Awesome. And I'm just seeing here now in the chat that Mr. Moroz, are you back with us just on audio only?
Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Hey, look at that. I get one working, now the other one doesn't work. So
Fantastic. I think
I guess.
you know, I've heard Zoom described as like a seance. You know, can you see us? You know, Mr. Moroz, can you hear us?
Well, thank you here, and I appreciate it. And like I said, you can't see me now, but at least I can say a couple things here. A lot of things have been said already about the business pathway, and a lot of things that we have to offer students here in District 214 with a slew of courses, a slew of internship opportunities, clubs, and so forth that they can join. And there, you know, with business being such a vast field, and there's so many opportunities to dive in different clusters, from marketing to finance to accounting to analytics. Throughout all the courses that are offered here in 214, there is something for everyone that's interested in business, and they can find their niche. We try and offer the courses that are kind of in the core of all those areas, but it allows for a lot of opportunities for students to branch off and kind of get more into, let's say, marketing, or more into public speaking, or more into finance with all the different programs. So, like I said, a lot has been said already, so I don't want to repeat too much.
Yeah. Right. I agree. You know what? Sorry. I was gonna say if there's any other information, but you know, it looks like we do have some chat questions. Unfortunately, they're only going to our host and not to the rest of us. But someone's asking, is AP economics class a good choice for a class for someone who wants to work in business? And we could, you know, we can either go to our teachers or maybe go to our panelists. You know, either April or Rachel.
I would say absolutely. One of the things we do at Buffalo Grove is we really try the senior year to get the seniors to enroll in AP economics or college economics along with college accounting at the same time. It's kind of getting both sides of the coin when it comes to business. You're learning the historical perspective, and then you're learning the actual perspective in both ways. Economics and accounting are kind of like the big four for any college business major. So as they're exiting out District 214, they've already got a glimpse of those four courses before they graduate.
Yeah, the other thing I'll mention along those lines, I would totally agree with what Mr. Moroz said about economics. You know, I have the same conversation with my kids. You know, the other piece of it is when you get into college, you're going to have to take some form of like calculus, you know, a business calculus class. And so like understanding the importance of taking some math classes that are going to challenge you, you know, even if you're like, yeah, but I'm gonna do marketing, I'm gonna do sales. What do I really need to know about numbers? Well, to get through the business school, you're going to have some, you know, higher level math courses, and trying to get that experience in high school is important. The other class we talk about in our area, that's not in our department, that's helpful in addition to economics and some type of calculus, would be like a stats class, you know, and that's something that's going to apply to really any major that you go into. But you're also going to have to take some sort of business stats class. So if you can have some sort of background in that in high school, whether it's AP or college, I also think that that's beneficial.
Great. So then somebody else asked, are the business courses mentioned at the beginning of the presentation offered at all District 214 schools? And I would say yes, for the most part, right? I mean, the way I guess pretty much any course in any subject goes is it's a little bit based on enrollment, right? So as long as we have enough students sign up for the class and we have enough teachers to teach all those classes, you know, there's a little bit of a juggle that goes on when we're creating sections and creating the classes for all the schools. But yeah, we do try to offer all of those classes. Couple more. What's the difference between AP economics and college economics? I think the biggest difference is one. So AP is test by exam, meaning that you take the class and then at the end of the, sorry, credit by exam. At the end of the course in May, you take an AP test. And then how you do on that test determines what college credit you get. As opposed to college economics, it's a dual credit course. So you get high school and college credit at the same time. And then your grade for the college course is based on the continuum of work that goes on. Sometimes some colleges look at certain courses a little bit more as having a little bit more rigor, but I think they're both excellent classes.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I know here at Buffalo Grove High School, the economics teacher has a lot of times recommends taking the college version. It's the same curriculum, same content. That way they're prepped to take the AP exams in micro and micro if they want to, and also get that dual credit through, I think it's Northeastern Illinois as well.
All right, can one take introduction to business courses junior year? Absolutely, right? The intro to business is offered for all ages of students. Sometimes you don't realize what you want to get into until later in high school. And so you can absolutely take those.
Yeah, I mean, if I look across my intro to business class, I have a fairly even mix of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And for that reason, they're into senior year, they're like, I don't know, I kind of want to test the waters, but I don't really want to take a full on college level course. And so they just take it for a semester. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same with the other ones, the marketing and the finance and investing. Those ones can be taken at any point as well. Someone asked, is there anything about stock market investing? So there is a new class that's going on or that's being offered next year called finance and investing. So that one will definitely have information about stocks and investing. So, do you have to take? Go ahead. Yep, go ahead, April.
This is April. Since we're talking about all these classes and whether they're the AP or the business classes, can I just throw out some HR advice? So whether you're doing an internship during high school or after high school going to college, please make sure on your resume that you are listing those courses, because that is really important thing to put on your resume.
All right, great advice. Do you have to take intro to business before another type of business course?
I'll jump in on this. No, there's no prereqs. But I think it's just situational. If you show up as a freshman and this is the pathway, we would say, okay, this is where you start. Take the intro to business class. So that's one extreme where we know this is the pathway. We're going to take an intro to business, then intro to marketing, intro to finance. So we'll get those done freshman or sophomore year, and then junior, senior year, we'll do the college level courses. So that's and we have kids like that. We have kids that know coming into freshman year and they follow this path. But then we also have a kid who between junior and senior year, I have one in my accounting class that's hasn't taken any business courses, has decided that they're definitely going to be a business major, is considering the finance route, and reaches out to their counselor and says, hey, look, I want to take college accounting. And that's the hardest class we offer. It's the most challenging. But it's also, if you're definitely going to be a business major, it's so important for you to have that sort of ground underneath you before you go to college. So we would say, yeah, you haven't taken any of the other classes, but if this is the direction you want to go, yeah, it makes perfect sense for you to take accounting during your senior year, so you're ready to go. So those are two different extremes. And then there's a bunch of examples of people that fall in between that. So we don't have a perfect pathway. We don't have prereqs. It's just situational based on where the kid's at in terms of how confident they are about their career and where they're at in their year in high school.
Yeah, I mean, there's a proposed layout of what the courses could look like, but the reality is it can pretty much take any path that you want. And all the schools are going to work with all the kids to try to get them into any class that they want to take is what it comes down to. All right, we have just a couple more minutes. Mr. Moroz, was that you jumping back in?
No, I was just gonna piggyback off of Mr. Murphy there, but he did a fantastic job explaining everything, so I had nothing else to say. But yeah, as incoming freshmen, you know, those 4 semester courses, they can take it anytime in any order. It's the dual credit courses, really, they have to be a sophomore before they can think about taking them. Because there is a lot more rigor involved because they are aligned with college courses. But as they fit in, we have students that will take one sophomore year and they move on to another pathway, like the medical pathway or so forth, or we have students come in their senior year and they're taking college business and college level accounting and AP economics all at the same time their senior year because they just kind of found it towards the end there. So there's a lot of opportunities, allow students to move from one pathway to another, so they're not really kind of stuck going through one throughout their high school career.
Absolutely. All right, well, it looks like our time has about come to a close, so I want to thank everyone for attending. And if you do have more questions, I know there will be incoming freshman nights at all the high schools. And then you can also reach out to your CTE division head at your District 214 high school, and they'd be happy to answer any and all questions. All right, so thanks again for joining us. Thanks, panel, for taking time out of your night to share your wisdom.
Thanks.
All right, have a
Thank
great
you.
night,
Have a good
everyone.
night.